Hola, ¿qué tal? Yo soy Federico. You know me from erre magazine, the magazine for you to learn new words in Spanish. And this is the second course. The first one was a very short one. It was a 30 minutes video, but very important because it's about the philosophy of the Spanish language. So you can see what makes Spanish different to English from a philosophical point of view. In that video I'm speaking in Spanish because if you are studying, learning Spanish, I think listening to me in Spanish would be a good thing, but I realized doing the subtitles and editing, it's really hard. So I decided and I said, okay, this is not a practicing lesson, so I'm gonna speak in English to make things easier. Hope my English is good enough. This video is an introduction to a set of video, a set of lessons I'm gonna be uploading here about the 5 core elements of the Spanish language. Well, my camera made a sound, so let me see. Okay, yes, it's okay. Alright, so this is an introduction to these 5 core elements. You won't find something like this list of core topics on well, maybe you will. Probably. Internet is so big, so yeah, probably. But this is something a method or point of view I have developed for my students to feel less stressed when they feel like lost because they don't know what to study and what not. Because at school, you know, you have like Spanish level 1, Spanish level 2, Spanish level 3, like so many pages and pages, hundreds of pages in textbooks, and it seems like the Spanish language is huge, but actually it isn't. And actually most of the languages are really easy, because if grammar is so complex, then nobody could say a word. So in Spanish we have 5 elements which are the most important for you to understand complex structures. So they are pronouns, verbs in their tenses or tiempos as we call them in Spanish with their conjugations, prepositions, articles and the word que. I'm sure you have heard this word que a lot and it's very important. Alright, so as I said, this is not a very detailed explanation of each one of these elements. For each one I'm going to be doing a particular or in a specific video, but you will find what you have to know, what you must know to understand difficult Spanish structures. Right, so pronouns. It's very common on my students to ask what a reflexive pronoun is and how they work. We have not just reflexive pronouns but possessives, personal, question words, they are pronouns as well, demonstrative, reflexive pronouns, many pronouns, just as you do in English. When I make the lesson dedicated to pronouns, you will see. But at this point, I should say, pronouns will let us substitute the name. That's why in Spanish they are called pronombres, name, nombre, to substitute the name on a sentence. And depending on the reason we are making the substitution, it's when we are gonna say to me, me, myself, me, I, yo, to me, me, my, me, with me, conmigo. See? So you do the same. It's just sometimes, actually in just two cases, we have particular pronouns and you have sets of words like to me, me, and that's the only difference. So if you feel a little bit confused about what pronouns we have in Spanish, you do in English, you have the same. Alright? So it's just they look different because they are different languages. Right? Let me see if the camera is recording. Yes, it was, but I have to check every 12 minutes because my camera records on sets of 12 minutes. So, okay, those are the pronouns. Some examples. Let's see some examples here. Ana y yo estudiamos juntos. If we don't want to say Ana y yo, imagine it's like a group, very big group of people. We don't have to say Ana, José, Luis, Pedro, María, Guadalupe, Lucia, and yo, and me, study together. So we just say we, okay? So that's the only function of these pronouns. She said to me, ella me dijo. Okay, so that's it. All right. When you face the problem with reflexive pronouns or of what kind of verbs use reflexive, well, when on the lesson I'm going to make specifically for pronouns, you will see. And it's the same in English. Some verbs work in a certain way, very specific way, and some others are kind of ambiguous. They may have many different interpretations. Actually, I think most of the verbs can have different interpretations, but those who have a lot of different interpretations will mostly use a reflexive to get an extra sense. That's it. Verbs and tenses. What a verb is. I know most of you will say actions, and yes, they are actions. But there's another thing which I think is more important and profound about verbs, and it's that they set things and people and situations in time. They place people in time, objects in time. Okay, it's not just the action, but how this object, this people, this situation is on specific time in relation to other moment, to another moment. Okay, so that's why we have verbs, so we can move, so we can place objects and people in time. That's why in Spanish tenses are called tiempos, times. One thing which is involved or having tenses, you in English you don't conjugate. If you don't know what a conjugation is changing the verb, so we can make reference to a specific person. You say I eat, we say yo como, tú comes, él, he come, nosotros, we comemos, right? So you do have the pronoun always, we don't. So we are aware of who is doing the action and in what moment, just by the sound of the conjugations. It sounds like a something really complicated, really hard, but actually it isn't. It's really hard because these sounds follow a pattern, so they are not really hard. Even irregular verbs, they do follow a pattern, excepting the verb to go and the verb to be. They are very, very different when we conjugate, but the rest, they are very easy. There are also gerund, participle, imperative, subjunctive, like different ways verbs are transformed into to set, to place, as I said before, objects, things in time in relation to other time. So this is the same in English. We don't think just like present, past, future. No, we tend to, we can, if I say I eat pizza, yes, present in relation to the present. But sometimes we need to make reference to the past and say I'm in the present in this situation because of this reason or action in the past, or the future will be in a certain way because of how I am now. Or things have been like this in the past and right now they still are the same. Okay, so that's why we have so many tenses, and that's why you didn't have so many tenses, but you express the same kind of ideas. Okay, it's the same, it's just you don't have conjugations, but you do the same putting words, as I said on the first course, the one of the differences between English and Spanish. All right, so let's see. I think I'm not giving you a lot of examples today. I made a list of examples. Maybe I think I'm gonna use them on the when I speak about these topics in specific, just to make this video shorter and easier for you. Prepositions. Let me take a look at my camera before I continue. Okay, it's really hard. It's just I'm alone. I'm like by myself here, so there's my camera doesn't have like a display who can be moved towards me to see if it's recording or not. So I have to go there and check. Prepositions. I'm sure you feel like prepositions are really hard. And they are. Actually, I think it's the most difficult topic for me. Because they work in very, I'm not gonna say different, but hard to predict ways. Their nature is to always mutate and to be used in different ways by the people. Of course, there are expressions which work almost in the same way always, but sometimes people use them in a different way. And that's because we are masters of the abstract things. You'll see on the next courses and lessons how in Spanish we use our imagination a lot. We are always thinking about how things might be. Not how things are, but how they might be, always. And prepositions play a major role to articulate this, the imagination, the way we imagine things. But I've found to a way which I need more time to explain, but at this point I will say, well, the good thing is we have just 4 prepositions which are hard to understand. The rest of the prepositions you can just look on Google Translate and look for their meaning in Spanish, and there you go, right? They're just translated. They don't have so many meanings and interpretations and shapes. But these 4, de, por, a, para, they always change. It's impossible to translate from Spanish to English and from English to Spanish. And languages which have prepositions, it's the same. It's really hard to just to make like literal translations between prepositions. No, because what's their function? It's to move the verb. That's why I'm saying verbs are not actions, are not just actions. Prepositions move the verb, move the action on a sentence, move the verb or the action. See, that's why I'm making a difference between verb and actions, because they are not always the same thing. So they move actions and verbs in time, but they also create relations between objects, between people, between things. So, the y a, these 2 prepositions, they merge things. It's like a fusion. Okay? I found this, or this idea came to my mind when I was reading about the philosophy and the body and these kind of things, and talking about the I forgot the word, thinking about the possibility to merge, for the bodies to merge in philosophy. It's a very abstract thing probably, but that's what these 2 prepositions do. A y de. They combine, they merge, they make a fusion between 2 objects, 2 persons. They create a very strong relation, like one into another. And prepositions por and para, they just make things join with an intention of something, but it's not like a fusion. They just work together for a goal or a reason. Okay, but they won't become a single thing. I didn't have enough time to make like a huge explanation of this, but I'm gonna give you some examples here. I'm gonna speak like if I were a caveman. Okay, so a caveman would say something like, yo comer a ti, I eat you. Okay. In Spanish we wouldn't say a thing like this. We would put some extra elements like yo te voy a comer or something like that. But like a caveman, it would be yo, I, verb to eat, comer, you. Okay, what's the difference between yo comer a ti, yo comer de ti? Yo comer a ti is like I'm gonna eat you. Okay, you will be part of me in a certain way. if I say I know about you, yo sé de ti, it's also a fusion. I know something about you that now it's part of me. Okay? Hope it's more clear with this example. And then when I say yo comer para ti, yo comer por ti, it's I'm gonna eat for you. See? You're not becoming a part of me. It's just I'm doing something for you. Yo comer por ti, I eat for you, like a caveman. I'm eating, or I eat because of you. See? You are not becoming a part of me. So think about it. I'm not gonna say too much now. On the prepositions lesson, I'm gonna explain this. I'm gonna give you like further explanations. Yeah, there are some other expressions like a que no sabías. I guess you didn't know. De por sí, in itself, something like that. Where we use prepositions at the beginning, they're a little bit hard if you don't think that a, de, merging, por, para, just a relation. Okay? Cool. Move on. I want the last thing, the word que. Before I go for the word que, I'm gonna check the camera, so let's see. Okay, now the word que. And one thing, I have to make this faster because my neighbors, they are making a lot of sound. Every day they wash their cars, every day for hours. So they use like these pressure machines to wash their car. It's really weird. So there's gonna be a background sound, so I'm gonna make this faster for you to, hopefully you won't hear the sound. So, next, que. The word que. It's very important in English, in Spanish. In English you have the same, that or than, when you are making comparisons. But in Spanish when we are supposed to listen to the word que, we have to listen to it. Okay? So if you didn't use the word can when you were supposed to, it's very confusing for us. And I think it's the only thing that will make us not understand your Spanish if you don't use it well. The only thing. Not prepositions, not conjugations, not even vocabulary probably. Que. If we don't listen to the que when we were supposed to, we get lost. Why? Well, this is the function of the word que. The word que let us imagine. We use a lot of imagination in Spanish. That sound. So we don't say many things. You in English, you are always clear about what you want to say. You say everything with words. We don't say everything with words. That's the magic of the Spanish language. And the word que is the keyword that will make us, it's like a command saying, okay, here you have to make an interpretation, an extra interpretation to understand the sentence. Let me see if I'm recording. Yes, I am. Okay, so the brain says, here you have to make an extra interpretation of what these people or what this guy is saying. If we don't get that command, then the brain, when we were supposed to, then the brain says, what's going on? I was expecting to get the command to imagine something, but I'm not getting the command, so what should I do? It's really weird, but that's what happens. So we have to make of course, if we make an extra effort, we will understand you, but it will be harder for us, and some people will say, oh, I don't know what you want to say because I was expecting you to say this, so my brain can think about something extra. It's like that. When I explain pronouns, I will talk more about this. Okay. I'm sure most of you know something about the subjunctive. If not, don't worry. You will find explanation when I make the video for tenses and verbs. But there is a way in Spanish we used to talk, and it's an extra tool we use if we want people to make a very dramatic interpretation of something. That's why que and this way to speak are friends. Is not a rule, so it doesn't mean whenever you find the word que, it doesn't mean you have to use subjunctive, but you will mostly, because they are friends, because subjunctive is related to interpretation and thinking about consequences, and que, it's an introduction that says make an extra interpretation of this, right? That's it. And last, and probably least, articles. Well, it's another thing that may get you in troubles. It's another thing that if we didn't listen to them what we were supposed to, we may not understand what you're saying. Why? Because articles let ideas, concepts, turn into objects. A phone. A phone has some features we can touch, we can see, probably we can smell. We use our senses to feel the object. But inside this object, there's a concept, an idea of it. When we don't use an article, we're making reference to that concept, to that idea surrounding the phone. When we use the article, we are thinking about that concept turned into an object. So, if you say, remember on the first course, the previous course, if we say, yo amo tacos, I love tacos, you don't say, in English you don't say, I love the tacos, the article there. But we do in Spanish, because otherwise we will start to think about the concept of a taco. And if you're just saying, yo, I love tacos, yo amo los tacos, it's like, why should I think about the concept? Why should I think about the concept of a taco? See? So that's why they are important. I don't want to make this video longer. I had some extra examples about each one of these topics. But now, take a look on the lessons for these topics, right? So, hope this introduction is clear enough and above all interesting, and also that it lets you feel like the Spanish language is not that stressing. It has a limits. So these 5 core topics are the limits. Alright? That sound, okay? That's why I wanted to make this video shorter, because my neighbors are making this sound with their machine. So, okay. Well, so that's it. Remember, if you find this video like very useful and different to everything you can find on YouTube, you can give a tip to me and I will really appreciate it. If not, don't worry. I'm really happy you learned something new today. Also, I have private lessons. I offer private lessons. So if you want to talk about this, you can book a private lesson. Or if you want to practice and during the practice doing some exercises for you to see these topics in action and getting a guidance on how to make your Spanish work well, you can book a private lesson. Alright? Well, so muchas gracias y nos vemos en las lecciones. See you on the lessons, which I'm gonna be uploading probably like once a week or one every 2 weeks. Alright? Well, nos vemos. Oops.